excited to present the Natural Hydrogen Pathways to Market research paper. For those who don't know me, I am James Gutman, and I'm a senior analyst in the Energy Capital Markets Group at S&P Global. A few months ago, I was surfing the web, trying to figure out what the levelized cost of hydrogen would be. And I was seeing a bunch of numbers up there, but I wasn't sure about the detail. I wanted more. Luckily, S&P Global has some of the brightest energy researchers on the planet. I rallied our capabilities in clean energy technology and upstream solutions, two research groups that don't often get the opportunity to work together, to put together a paper on an innovative new technology and figure out how to monetize it. First, let's talk about the history of natural hydrogen. It was 1987. Workers were drilling for water in the Mali village of Burakabugu. One unlucky fellow lit a cigarette and it exploded. The odorless gas was determined to be hydrogen. Later, a turbine was connected to the almost pure stream, creating a clean energy source for the village. A recent United States Geological Survey study estimates that there could be millions of megatons of natural hydrogen in the Earth's crust. This means that even if a small fraction of the subsurface hydrogen is accessible, we could potentially meet all global projected demand for centuries. Our research paper looks at basin prospectivity and the company's leading exploration and production. Then we get into the numbers. Using Questor from Commodity Insights Upstream Solutions, we estimated the economics of production over a range of basin sizes and then evaluated two pathways to market, using pipelines and using well-to-power. Elizabeth Marshall is an executive director and covers international exploration and development and basins content. Elizabeth, where have we identified natural hydrogen place?
Globally, our basin research team here at S&P Global Commodity Insights is helping our customers advance their natural hydrogen exploration. So this exciting emerging low carbon energy resource with some game-changing potential. And they're leveraging their decades of geological expertise. So we've analyzed and incorporated new natural hydrogen specific data into our global sedimentary database. So by integrating our exploration well data, licensing activity, and these new basin level assessments into Eden, which is our international energy data platform, we can help clients identify viable hydrogen prospects and understand those subsurface dynamics. This now enables us to describe and map potential plays in basins around the world in order to identify those areas that may be most prospective for this new resource. So that research included cataloguing natural hydrogen seeps across 16 geologic provinces, and we've identified 32 natural hydrogen plays to help build this kind of comprehensive subsurface data set. So now clients can easily track who's currently exploring where, and they can also get a better understanding of those known discoveries, those known analogues that are already out there. All of that's supported by our sort of forward-looking intelligence from our regional research teams, and they provide additional commentary and analyses on regulatory drivers in those areas where we are seeing this ongoing natural hydrogen exploration.
Thanks, Elizabeth. There's clearly significant global prospectivity for natural hydrogen, but to make this market work, we need to know the economics of exploration. Melissa Greig is an associate director in Upstream Solutions, and she's going to tell us how we estimated the cost of production.
So we estimated both capital and operating costs using S&P's software Questor. The project modeling platform allows us to estimate costs from start to finish.
Melissa, is Questor just for oil and gas?
Questor is not limited to oil and gas estimates, but it also covers like LNG projects. In our case, a hydrogen production facility is also taken into account. The software is really interactive, and I really enjoy actually using the platform. It allows users to build out projects from upstream components, such as a well, to midstream and downstream components, including pipelines and production facilities. Questor also contains a really comprehensive cost database for various regions and countries worldwide. It covers both onshore and offshore project areas, so it's a very neat platform in that regard. There's also databases that go into much more detail. These databases include cost centers such as equipment, materials, construction costs, and project management.
How did we use it for natural hydrogen?
So for field sizes, we considered multiple factors. We utilized S&P's Eden and Questor databases along with public information related to natural hydrogen discoveries. This allowed us to review industry insights while incorporating our subsurface understanding of geological environments that are needed for natural hydrogen reservoirs. As a result, we were able to provide a range of theoretical field sizes. For this study, we used a range of 30 BCF up to 1,000 BCF.
So we use Questor and our subsurface understanding to come up with a basin size and an estimate for how much it's going to cost. What were the results?
So, in addition to the previously mentioned field sizes, there were several lower production scenarios that we looked at. For a basin the size of roughly 5 BCF or 12 kilotons, cost per kilogram is approximately $1. For any basins over 29 BCF or 70 kilotons, the cost per kilogram dropped to less than 20 cents, which is a substantial change. In the higher case of a basin over 1,000 BCF or 2,400 kilotons, the cost per kilogram is just 16 cents.
So now that we have an estimate of how much it's going to cost to drill, we need to understand how we can use this stuff. Hydrogen is a difficult molecule, and there isn't the same legacy infrastructure to transport it available as we have for natural gas, oil, and electricity. Katherine Leyden is an analyst with Clean Energy Technology Solutions covering hydrogen. Katherine, how do we get hydrogen to market?
So in our study, we tested two different methods you could potentially use to transport hydrogen from a remote well to a potential use case. The first pathway we used is a hydrogen pipeline, which are commonly used today to transport hydrogen all around the world. For example, there's a really large hydrogen pipeline on the US Gulf Coast. And the second pathway we used is the well-to-power pathway, which involves using a hydrogen gas turbine on the site of your hydrogen well to convert hydrogen to electricity, and then using an HVDC line to carry that electricity to your end user, which could be pretty far away from your hydrogen well location. At the scales that we analyzed, from a 30 BCF field all the way up to 1,000 BCF field, pipelines ended up being more economic than well to power, especially when you got to that larger end of the scale. All-in costs, including production costs for a pipeline at a TCF scale, end up being about $1 per kilogram, and costs are pretty similar at the 550 BCF scale for pipelines as well. But when you get down to the 30 BCF scale, costs are competitive between well to power and pipeline, from about $3 a kilogram to $5 a kilogram for 100 miles to 1,000 miles for well to power, and from about $2 to $5 a kilogram for pipelines at the BCF scale. But at the scales that are likely needed to make the whole project economic, pipelines end up being the clear winner in terms of economics.
Thanks, Katherine. As a commodity, our estimates show that natural hydrogen has the potential to be competitive with LNG if the conditions are right. And we're not the only ones seeing this. Companies involved with natural hydrogen in Australia, Canada, and the United States have raised close to $900 million in the last 20 years, including Coloma's announced Series B funding round of $245 million in February of last year.